Hello, Peter. I'm happy to meet you here again today. Also, thank you for greeting us in Japanese last time. This was my first time doing an interview like this, so I didn't have room in my heart and not confident in my English. So I just finished it quickly, but I was very happy. I think people in Japan who watched it were also happy. I appreciate your thoughtfulness. Thank you.
Konnichiwa again, Mika, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Konnichiwa again. Thank you. So I'd like to move on. First question is relationships have a huge impact on our lives. It depends on the kind of people we interact with can greatly affect how our lives will unfold in the future. I believe that developing insight also means developing the ability to see the essence and the truth of things, including human relationships. What do you think we need to develop insight?
Insight, you could say, comes along with relationships. There's many reasons behind relationships, whether it's a give or take. Some situations we're just born into, put into. There's many layers to relationships, and self-mastery is upped one level when in relationships as well. Insight is part of it. We could say that every relationship and our relationship with our outer world is a reflection of the inner world. Everything's mirrored, so to speak, like a mirror. In some cases, with relationships, we could say that are they in alignment with where we're wanting to go, with what we're wanting to surround ourselves with. As the old saying goes, you hang around dogs, you'll catch fleas. So are the people around you inspiring you? And if it's situations that you don't have a say, or you think you don't have a say with what certain relationships you have in other cases, what's the fruit from them? What's the lessons? What is it showing about you? It could be control issues. It could be judgment issues. And in some cases, it's being okay that things aren't okay. Acceptance, compassion, non-judgment, just allowing. Of course, there's a fine line between being respectful and not being respected as well. So there is many factors with it. But insight is part of that. It's part of the soul evolution. It's part of the soul growth. It's part of what am I learning in this? Many people in your life you would have done these walks with before in other lifetimes, whether in other worlds or on Earth, and not just in past lives, because there are also future lives. It's all happening at the same time. In some cases,
Peter, can you hear me? It didn't work.
yeah, I've got you
Okay,
back
just
again. Yeah.
yes, okay, thank you.
And I was
Okay.
just saying with free will, did you get up to the free will bit? Did you hear me talk about free will?
No.
No, no. Well, I was getting to the point of saying with free will,
Okay.
that's where that for somebody else's free will can cross our free will, and it can also alter our experiences. And that's where the insight is of making decisions to make sure that you're in control of you the best that you can be. And we could say learning from the fruit in those experiences through self-mastery of what you want and what you don't want in terms of what you surround yourself and what relationships you have. And also there's the insight with relationships that there are cycles to them. There's some people are in your life for a day, some people are in your life for a season, some people are in your life for many seasons. So the insight is what helps you grow from within, from the fruit. But ultimately, it's just a dream in God's mind that we're having anyway.
Okay. Thank you. Next, I believe that in order to deepen our spiritual learning and move forward in the work, unavoidable thing. Some people might feel this is hard work. I feel that the concept of inner work is still not well known in Japan. So could you tell us what inner work is?
Inner work, we could say, is a facet of self-mastery. Inner work is taking control and mastering your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and harnessing those to a point of experiencing and living the most joyous, blissful, productive life that you can be, the most fruitful life. So inner work really is self-mastery, and it's how does my actions, my thoughts, what I'm actually doing, not just affect me, but affect others, but also bring me to the outcome and the desire that I'm so dearly seeking to experience in the human experience. So when you're doing that inner work, if you're wanting to be more happy, more productive, more loving, more empathic, more of service to others, it's catching the thoughts and your actions of how are these thoughts and my actions equaling that. So it's not a complicated thing, though it can be something that does need a lot of work. And whether that's because of what we think others think of us, which is sometimes an illusion, even though it all is an illusion, sometimes we're thinking something that's not actually occurring, and also being a people pleaser. And we're not always going to make everyone happy in everything that we do. It's pretty much impossible because people have got their own come from, their own angles, their own. The self-mastery is really key with the inner work. As I said, inner work is a facet of that. So I hope that answers your question, Mika.
Okay. Thank you. A question about projection. For example, when we are attached to something, unfortunately, it often doesn't go the way we want it to. But by letting go, things start to change, and sometimes it happens instantly. Do you think that the reason why inner projections can be projected outside quickly like this is also due to the energetic influence of the ascension process?
Partly. We're all in God's mind, in God's brain, you could say. And when we're putting out for things, there are many factors, again, others free will. So somebody else's free will that can impede on you trying to project and manifest or create what have you. And there's also meeting the universe halfway. I use the analogy of you want to achieve something, let's say go to the supermarket and buy food. The way that you normally drive there today might have a detour sign because there's roadworks. So you take the detour and you drive another way to get to the supermarket. You still get there. And let's say, as an example, you might even get there 2 minutes quicker than you normally do. So sometimes the universe is trying to bring things to us quickly, and sometimes in a longer period, but in a timely fashion. And that's why when we put out for something, we meet the universe halfway. We can't do completely nothing and expect everything to fall into our lap. We've got to make moves and meet the universe halfway, and it will do what it can to bring things to us. And it is part, we could say, of not just an ascension process, but an earthly process, earth-human process of learning, of being goal-orientated, of learning patience with that, of dedication, discipline. So you're projecting for something to occur, and sometimes your own projections can be extremely negative as well, with your own preconceived notions and ideas of what something should be and how it should manifest. So that's where the letting go process, for not just your highest good, but all's highest good that's involved, is key with that, because there can actually be results manifest that are 100 times better than what you could even imagine. But that's where it's very uncomfortable for some and fearful for some. So fear of the unknown and fear of security are what stops a lot of people in that process, because they're trying to question. We could say, yeah, it is part of the ascension process, but not the be all end all or the only part of it. As you're going through these processes, you're refining yourself and you're mastering yourself more and more and more. So yeah, I hope that's answered that, Mika.
Okay, thank you. So last question. I feel that inspiration, flashes of inspiration and messages often come to us when we are in a particular relaxed state, such as when we are simply relaxed and present, or when we are immersed in something and in a meditative state of consciousness, or when we are enjoying a daydream. Are these coming from source, or are they messages being sent to us by our higher selves or other beings? Also, could this be said to be a state of resonance with source?
It's yes to all the above. Yes to all the above. There are different frequencies that we can tap into. When we're in that daydream, I call it the zone state. We could say that you are in a state of no mind, which is God's mind. Now, that field is everywhere and everything. You've also got the light body concept that goes out around you. You're within your light body. And there are other energies and entities that can overlap our light body, or through the quantum field can set an intention to connect with us, and we can feel that energy, and they could be somewhere else in another space and time. It integrates into the human brain through thoughts, ideas, epiphanies, concepts, and knowingness. The communication, we could say, from saints, sages, masters, extraterrestrials, even other life forms, other humans, animals, plants, what have you. But it's also the same way that source can commune with us, but it's more of a feeling on top of that, that it's like an instant knowingness, rather than with telepathy or something where it's an impression-based thing. And we could say it's got a slight delay to it, and it isn't intense. But when you commune with source, it's so intense and so direct in your face that most people don't realize they're doing it, because it's more of a feeling that God speaks to us with the impressions of everything else. But you're merging with everything and all that is at once. And for the human body, if not trained in these things or educated on these things, you're not going to even realize when that's happening and when it's occurring. You just think you're daydreaming or hitting a zone, but you're momentarily merging with that. So in terms of the daydream state, that zone, it can be any and all types of intelligences interfacing with us, from the standpoint that through thoughts, ideas, feelings, impressions, epiphanies, is the way that all intelligences can interface with one another. It surpasses the boundaries of cultural and, we could say, language barriers. it's thought, it's mind, it's the impression. So if I say to you orange, unless you know what the actual fruit is, I could project that through thought and you would see the actual fruit of orange, that is the orange color. It's round. You'd get the taste. You would even, depending on your advancement, understand that it's something that's grown and that it comes from a tree and there might be variations of them. So it's just a thought of what it is I'm trying to relay to you, that I might not even use the word orange, but I just project the fruit and you understand and you see this and you get the impressions of it's something that me as a human would eat, and the color of it, the texture of it. So that is how we all interface transdimensionally, that surpasses a language, that even surpasses the linear concept that I'm relaying this to you now, is taking me a minute or so. In that state, I could do that in a split second. And it's just they're all knowing at once. But again, if we're not trained on this and able to observe and just be and sit in the space of that communication, it can go on by, or we can just mistaken it as our imagination, not take or heed the fruit from it, and we go about our day. And in those cases, some cases, that can be unproductive for one, because it could be a warning. It could be insight from another intelligence or God about how to go about a project or achieve a certain thing, or the higher self, which is really where you want to commune with, is the higher self, which is a cell of God's mind. And from that, you can interface with anything anyway. But if you're doing that yourself, going to the higher self and then the God state, you've got access to all that is. There's no need for anything else to be a middleman. But we can commune with the greater family of man through that state. So it's everything that you mentioned, Mika.
Okay. Thank you so much for all the wonderful message today. We can use self-mastery in many aspects of our daily lives. It can change our consciousness, perspective, and perception, and bring peace to our hearts. I hope these messages are helpful to you. Love and blessings to Peter and all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mika. Sayonara.
Bye. Thank you.